Motion is lotion.
5, 6, 7, 8. Kick, pull, kick, over.
Move it or lose it.
6.
We all know we need to keep moving in order to stay healthy.
We'll get to you later, Bob. Save the punches for the weights.
But sometimes the first step can be the hardest of all.
We've got all our stuff. Let's go for a hike.
On today's episode, get moving. It's long been proven that health and fitness are joined at the hip. And for us Zoomers, every little bit counts. Even a short walk with the dog or a little bit of light gardening can have immense benefits on the wellness of our bodies and our spirits. Research shows that exercise helps prevent and improve a number of health problems, including high blood pressure, diabetes, and arthritis. It also has psychological benefits. Exercise can help improve mood and reduce anxiety. So what can we do to add a bit more motion into our day-to-day lives? Well, I thought to ask a group of Zoomers who are doing their best to stay healthy, and they call themselves Free and Fun Fitness. Oh, I see 1 hand and then 2 hands.
Yes.
Oh, geez.
Oh, yes.
I've been doing it wrong.
Lynn and I, we met and got together, of course, and one of our things about getting together was we both enjoyed fitness. When COVID started, of course, we decided to do our own thing, so we contacted a bunch of folks that we knew from our fitness group at the community center, and we've been outdoors every Tuesday and Thursday for the last 2 years, enjoying our fitness.
5, 4, 3.
Everybody says you have to stay fit because it's good for your mental state, it's good for aging. So tell me your philosophy on fitness as you age.
Well, I don't think of ever aging. That's why we call it free and fun fitness. I think age is just a number. So for me, being active makes me feel young. Forward, back. Forward, back. We'll get to you later, Bob. Save the punches for the weights.
I met Lynn through the exercise class, and so she said, oh, we'll do it outside because of COVID. So we came out here, and we have been doing this for well over 2 years now.
And here we go, folks, down to 2 more. Stop. Come up slowly.
True's husband David joins from time to time, and he's invited me to their home to talk about his true passion, which rolls on 2 wheels.
That's me in the helmet.
Those days, nobody smokes.
It absolutely. But you know, that's 45.
Yeah.
Being 45, so that's almost half of my lifetime ago.
It started 45 years ago, so I was in my late 40s. And it's one of those things that once you get onto it, somehow or other it has a way of continuing.
Basically, this little thing will allow the seat to go up, and when you push it and put your weight on the seat, it will go down.
The social aspect of that is just as much an importance as the cycling, the physical activity.
But I'll let you make up your mind.
A few years back, David received news from his doctor that he had cancer. Devastating as this news was, David was able to persevere.
We discovered it by the fact that my femur broke while I was standing. It had been eaten away by the cancer. That was recognized as soon as the surgeon put the titanium thing in. He recognized that's lymphoma, and I think 3 or 4 weeks later I started the chemo. It was just wonderful that it was available for me and that I could get into it right away before the lymphoma had done any more.
Yeah.
And because I was in reasonably good shape, they were able to give me the full shot rather than holding it back because of the damage it does to your system.
Receiving news that you have cancer is a shock, but trauma comes in many different forms. Bob also went through a traumatic experience. He explains how exercise helped him heal.
My mental health issue started about 10 years ago. I suffered a traumatic situation in my life, and that led to post-traumatic stress syndrome, and it's led to depression and sadness and an inability to think correctly and such. The PTSD came upon because of a shooting, and I was a human resource manager of a large operation in New Westminster. I was too much of a caregiver and didn't worry about myself. And that knew what it boils down to. I didn't give enough Bob time to deal with it.
Second in.
It ends up that I felt that the thing to do was to change my life a little bit. So a little bit of an early retirement occurred. It led to seeing a psychologist and talking through some of the issues I was having with the PTSD. It also led me to suggest I've got to be healthier, get rid of those 40 pounds that was gone.
Hands to the side of your body, palms facing back, bend your knees a bit and pulse back.
I'd been to the doctor and he'd said, well, your family has a history of becoming a diabetic, having a stroke. And I'd grown up watching this affect my family, and it wasn't great.
We're on a mission to get moving. We've seen how one group of Zoomers in Vancouver meets up twice a week to stay active. Now we're heading from beach to swimming pool. Videographer Dean Atwell met up with Cindy Yoshida, who used exercise as a form of medicine.
After her doctor-suggested prescription meds, Cindy Yoshida instead decided to keep rigorously active and turned aging on its head through synchronized swimming.
I'd been to the doctor and he'd said, well, your family has a history of becoming a diabetic, having a stroke. And I'd grown up watching this affect my family, my mother, my father, all their siblings, and it wasn't great. And decided synchronized swimming, I'll try that, because I've always liked water.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Kick, pull, kick, over. Yes.
I love coaching masters. It's a completely different ballgame than coaching kids and teenagers, simply because they're here because they want to be here, they're paying to be here, and they're dedicated to the sport. And Cindy is a firecracker. At the beginning of this season, when I first met her, because this is my first season working with her, I had to ask her if this was how she always was, because she's just so excited all the time. It's a blast.
The first time I went to a BC Summer Games, she asked me, oh, would I like to try it? And I was quite naive about this. I thought, oh, okay, sure. So I went along with it. And the first time I went, I think I placed 5th overall, which I thought, well, that's pretty good. But I thought, well, if I came back again, if I try a bit more, maybe I can go higher. Maybe I could do more. And so I came back as a double gold medalist. This is a little collection of some hardware. It's not the whole collection, but a good portion. So, you know, the local provincial meet. This was what's the Canadian National Masters meet. This was the UANA International, so North and South American together. I'm thrilled and humbled that people might use me as an example. Like, it's never too late.
So, there's a lot going on in here. I've just been handed these nose clips. I should have asked how to put them on. But I gotta go catch up with Cindy. So, here's hoping for the best.
So I'll show the vertical.
All right,
your turn. There you go. You were closer to it that time.
A lot tougher
Well,
than you could imagine. And I've only been in here for 5 minutes.
I now get to travel with my team, my duet partner, and we get to do, I call it destination competition. So we're planning to go to Japan next year. I feel like saving has saved me, stopped me from having to go on to medication and have this wonderful balance of life. And so, yeah, I'm grateful for it that I have this in my life.
We all know that we need to keep moving, but let's be honest. Sometimes the first step is the hardest one of all. It turns out that only 35% of Zoomers exercise regularly. And the older we get, the less likely we are to keep our bodies moving. So how do we get started? I thought to ask a neuroscientist who's made her living answering that very question.
My first job was as the social and fitness director at a retirement home. And I got to see just amazing people in their 80s and 90s and just vital and excited about life. And I just thought, that's how I'm gonna be when I grow up, you know? Well, I am a neuroscience-based wellness coach, and so I teach people sort of the fundamentals of wellness, which are my 5 pillars: mindset, movement, nutrition, sleep, and connection. And the neuroscience part of it is so exciting because we can change our brains with our mind and our actions throughout our entire lifespan. And when we do that mindfully and consciously, we can form healthy habits.
Happy birthday, dear Bob. Happy birthday. The candles wouldn't
Hold on,
fit
we can do this.
Let's see this cake.
Oh, you get the biggest piece.
You've done gerontology, and you know what ADL is, activities of daily living is about.
Yes, yes,
You
absolutely.
certainly have an appreciation for what I'm talking about. Maybe can you comment about what that would be for an older gentleman, an older fellow who, like myself, who wants to be active and fit?
Absolutely. I mean, when I think of exercising, I never think of like getting a beach body. I think of my mental health and my ability to do stuff. I remember one day I almost missed the bus and I had bags of groceries and I just football carried them and ran in my high heels, and the bus driver stopped and he clapped for me. And I was just like, that's an activity of daily living.
How do you find with exercise the correlation with memory in seniors? Do you find that there's benefits to that?
Oh my goodness, yes. There's studies that prove that your brain is primed for learning and memory after you exercise. It produces a compound called BDNF when you exercise, brain-derived neurotropic factor, and it stimulates neurogenesis, so the birth of new neurons and the connection of existing neurons, and that happens throughout your life.
I was wearing the blue one, by the way, David, in case you're wondering.
So often we're unaware or unmindful of how things make us feel. We can eat food that's not healthy, we can stay up too late, we cannot exercise, we cannot get outside, we cannot get together with friends, and we don't understand the connection between that. But if we understand and we're aware of, this made me feel really good, then that changes our brain. Just the awareness, that made me feel good, begins to change our brain to make us want to do those healthy things.
And to the sides, we're gonna make a box out of this.
If someone's watching you right now, watching us in the park on this glorious Vancouver morning, and they're like, well, I'd like to get started, what's the first thing that people should do?
Do anything. Do a single step, a single minute for your health, and reflect on how good it made you feel. And that reflection, just thinking about it, will start to change your brain, and you'll crave it more.
I have just a little bag that I just carry a bunch of stuff in, and I always know it's there.
Oh, look at you, Mr. Prepared. There's no better place to get exercise than the great outdoors. But Canada is big and it's wild. The backcountry can be a dangerous place. In Metro Vancouver, one group of volunteers has dedicated themselves to educating and helping hikers, the North Shore Rescue.
Backcountry expert Alan McMorty has been with the group for 43 years.
We can respond in less than an hour to anywhere on the North Shore with people who have equipment, training, gear to do quite a few things. When I was younger, of course, I was the one carrying the heavy packs and getting out into the woods and finding the people and flying in the helicopters and doing all of that. But as you get on in the team and these younger people come on, it's certainly much better for the younger, stronger people to go in and to the subject in trouble. But also, you want to make sure these young people are interested and stay with the team.
Before we went off on our hike, Alan and the group showed me a checklist.
I have just a little bag that I just carry a bunch of stuff in, and I always know it's there.
Oh, look at you, Mr. Prepared.
There's a neat little light.
I have one of those in my drawer somewhere.
And that'll give me enough light to walk out. So I always have some lighters, but I do also have some matches.
Yeah.
Every once in a while you just need quick access to a Band-Aid. So I got a couple Band-Aids. So this is just kind of my go-to bag. And these buffs, they're so useful. You know, if it's a little bit cool, you have it around your neck, and it keeps you're warm there.
Yeah.
But then if it really gets cold and you're having to sit there for a while, then you've got a toque, you've got a hat. And if the bugs are bad, you can, there's all kinds of things you can do with this.
Okay, so we haven't forgotten anything, right? Everything's back in our packs. We're ready? Okay, Alan, go ahead. I think it's time to take a hike. Now we're packed and I'm ready.
We got all our stuff. Let's go for a hike.
Oh wow, we just suddenly turned and we're in a completely different environment.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're really in the wild.
The North Shore Forest is beautiful, but if you're not prepared, awful things can happen.
A young lad, Tony Baker, got separated from his group and he was downhill skiing up in Cyprus. Hadn't skied very much and he got down into a gully. We got called out at probably 11 o'clock at night and started out middle of the night, and we find his tracks and we start thinking, okay, we're going to find this boy. We saw where he had tucked himself in underneath a tree for a little while, and we're quite excited. Okay, he must be there. There, the tracks went out the other side. We followed those tracks all the way down this gully. About 3 or 4 in the morning, we got to the edge of this waterfall, and the tracks led right up to it. But we got down to the bottom, and there were no tracks out. Unfortunately, that young boy was at the bottom of that waterfall, and he was dead.
He walked right over it.
Yep, middle of the night. He didn't stay stationary and hug a tree and wait. That was so sad, yeah.
I can see you're teary now.
Yeah, it's one of those, I think all of us on the team we do deal with PTSD, but I'm sure we all have a little bit. But yeah, it's always one of the ones, if somebody asks me what's the worst one, that's always been it.
Yeah, you have to have your eyes open. I just love it. And do you see yourself leaving the team?
No. You'll leave when you die, I guess.
I think that question shocked you. You're like, I can't even believe you're asking me this.
That's right, leave the team? Why would I leave the team?
Well, that just about does it for the show. But we can't leave without a regular feature with Chef Julian Bond. He's back in the kitchen showing us healthy, affordable, and Zoomer-friendly recipes.
I'm going to take this and I'm going to mix it with hummus and make it as a filling. You can make it as a filling for sandwiches. I'm going to put it inside a potato. Hi, I'm Chef Julian Bond. Come with me while I show you a few shopping hacks to save some money. Canned salmon. There's so many to choose from. So how do you pick the right one versus the wrong one? My advice is look for something that's made in BC, something that's local, something that only has basically sockeye salmon and salt as the ingredients. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna mix it with hummus and make it as a filling. You can make it as a filling for sandwiches. I'm gonna put it inside a potato. There's nothing simpler in life than a potato. Here's a little tip for you. If you do boil a potato, make sure you boil it with the skins on. The skins is where all the nutrients are hiding. Eat the skin, but if you must peel it after it's cooked, and it's amazing value for your money. We take our lovely russet potatoes, you're gonna give them a wash, and stop them. And these are gonna get baked in the oven for about an hour. Canned salmon. So I'm actually using organic ocean canned salmon. The reason why, well, this sockeye came from the Skeena River and it's in partnership with the First Nations, so they actually catch it for us so we can hand pack it for you in this beautiful can and preserve that goodness. It's when you open canned salmon, a lot of people don't eat it because of this guy, the bones. And they're like, but there's so many bones in there. The way the salmon is cooked, these bones just disintegrate. Look at that. They disappear. That's pure calcium you're gonna get right in your body. You don't need this from a multivitamin, you just need this from salmon. I'm just gonna take it and mush up my salmon just a little bit. I still want it chunky. And I'm gonna add something to bring it all together. Most people use mayonnaise, that's fantastic. I'm gonna use my chickpea puree. Beautiful. Adding the chickpea instead of mayonnaise, this is gonna be so much healthier for you. Second filling, we have leftover chicken. To that, we're going to be adding sour cream and a fine sprinkling of madras powder. And that is just gonna flavor that chicken. So we have our salmon, we have our chicken. The only thing we're missing is our potatoes. You know, some of the best food is the simplest food. And here we have our potatoes. And let's fill them into one chicken, our salmon. Simple, fast. Enjoy.
Well, that's the show, and I hope that you've been motivated to get moving. And remember, as our CART president, Moses Naimer, always says, the best way to keep going is to keep going, so Carpe Diem and seize your day. Wait for me! Wait!